One of the things, Wendy, when you were talking that, from the experience that we've all had is when we assess, we're talking about asking a leader for 45 minutes to an hour. And now, as you said, we're asking for 12 minutes or less. So it's a much less ask, and then we can ask more frequently. Vid talked about the rocket ship, and you think of a rocket taking off, and we're not checking on that rocket. We're trusting, hoping, praying that it might land, or at least it goes off course and doesn't hurt or hit anyone. But that's not the way we've got the ability today to do this. As you said, 12 minutes, and we can do this much more quickly. You gave the example of me wanting feedback at 6 months. Maybe I want feedback in 3 to 4 weeks. I'm trying something new. I want to be innovative, and I can do that today. That's incredible.
But the thing about about rockets to me is that every gram, and I kid you not, every gram, not even an ounce, right? A smaller unit than an ounce, every gram is worth its weight in gold. Mm-hmm. The lighter you make the rocket, the more effective and efficient your flight path is and your targeting is, right? Now think about this. And rocket scientists felt like they had to include thrust vectors or mechanisms for thrust vectoring on those rockets. What does that mean? That means adding more components to the rocket to course correct, right? Why do you think they would do that? They're giving up something very valuable, which is payload, right? Mm-hmm. They're adding to the machinery, making it heavier. And every gram you add, my understanding is that it complicates your ability to get into space by a factor of 10 or 20x, I believe, every gram. So these folks are in the back rooms designing, redesigning, redesigning to make these as light as they can, and they decide to add course correction mechanisms to the process. Just think about that. They're doing it because they understand one thing. When you launch a rocket, as many knowns as you have, there are still unknowns. Mm-hmm. And they create these thrust vector mechanisms to course correct so that the rocket reaches the X. Now, if we think rocket scientists need to include course correction mechanisms, who are we in the leadership development space to even, where do we come from on this? Like, what's the audacity that we bring to the whole conversation to say somehow all you need to do is launch the rocket and you know what? The rocket's going to launch an X, right? You know what I mean? That's what I'm hearing when the both of you, speak about it. I don't know if that's what I should be taking away, but that's the audacity that I hear from the leadership development landscape.
Thank you for that, because I think you just gave me words that I didn't quite have before. It is audacity, isn't it? I mean, it is hubris. It is us thinking that we're good enough to hit our spot, hit our X, without giving our leaders any help at all. And we just say, here you go. And when we think about a rocket going off into space, it's a very complex, place they're going. Not unlike where our leaders are being asked to perform and go every day. I mean, think over the last couple of years, all of the different things that have come into the marketplace that our leaders have had to work with and wrap their heads around and think through and course correct their way through via feel, almost with blinders on. And we're saying, good luck with that. And I think about the amount of time, effort, and money that we're leaving on the table, or maybe misinvesting is a better way to say it. When you said that every gram is worth its weight in gold, what if we applied that to the leadership development space? And I think of, oh my gosh, we're making these significant investments, $1.25 trillion in our leadership development, but we have no idea if it's marking the X or not, and we have no idea if it's helping our leaders to calibrate and make those course corrections that we think are so very important. And the last piece that struck me is every gram is worth its weight in gold. and every gram is important. I think to our continuous conversation that's kind of underlying everything that we say here is that we can't just do this for our senior leaders.
Exactly.
We have to do it for our sales leaders, for our service leaders, for our team leaders. And what happens when that type of calibration and course correctioning begins to become available for all leaders? I just think of the compounding energy and vibrancy of an organization when more and more leaders are hitting that X, hitting that spot because of the way that the data that they have available to them because the organization has retooled.